physician-assisted suicide?
I think that physician-assisted suicide is okay. Um, if personally, if I had like one of my worst fears is not being able to see or hear, or a loss of limb or something, and um, if I had a chronic illness that prevented me from seeing or hearing, or like I was just crippled and I couldn't move or something, I would personally, if I could talk or I could communicate with my family in some way, I would tell them to tell my doctor or whoever to let me pass, or like to give me something to help me pass, because I think that a lot of people that do suffer from chronic illness, they don't like to spend their life, like whatever remainder of their life, if it is the life-threatening disease, they don't want to spend the rest of their life in suffering, and they know that they're gonna die, but they can't really do anything about it. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. I think that if they want to pass, then they should be able to, and if it's up to them and their family, I think that's like my piece of. That's my opinion.
I do agree kind of what Matthias says. I do think that it's up to you. I think that, however, I do think that like you should kind of like wait to make like let's say your doctor has like is either saying like you have to go through all these things or you can just pass, or because you could just pass. I feel like that would be like kind of your decision. But like if you just have an illness and you just kind of just want to like pass for no reason, or like not for like a big enough reason, I feel like you shouldn't be able to do that. But I feel like if it's something really like that could really cause you harm or something, I feel like it is your decision and your family's decision to depend on what you want.
I definitely agree with having physician-assisted suicide being an option. But the option should come like last. It shouldn't be the first resort you go to. I believe that it should only be offered to those who are terminally ill or have no chance of recovery, like someone who's in a coma who will not wake up, instead of someone who's just unhappy with their life because they became blind or lost a limb.
I do agree with what all of you have said because it is the person's choice. However, they do have to fight. Well, I personally feel like they should fight their battle, but if it's to the point where they're unable to live their life or they don't have a chance of living, it's very slim, then physician-assisted suicide is a good option, but as Amy said, it shouldn't be the first option.
What if they're in a coma? Who makes that decision?
I would
I
say
think it was, like-
immediate family.
Yeah,
Or
the
spouse?
family, or like if it's not like your parents, if you're older and your parents can pass, then it should be someone else of your family that should make the decision, because you can't give your consent to do that, but you should leave it to your friends, or sorry, not friends, but family.
I agree with what Amanda said, but because like in extreme cases, I think that it should be definitely an option for physician-assisted suicide. But like if they're just like they just want to die or something because like they're like like depressed, then I think that they should have to like battle through that and get like help. But like they shouldn't be thinking about just suicide. They should have to fight like what they're going through. They make themselves better.
Yeah, but like, I'm not saying like, just kill yourself because you're depressed, or like tell someone else to. I'm like, it is gonna be the last resort, or it is gonna be something that if you are in a coma, or like if it's this like extremely bad, like this illness that you have that I don't know, it completely disables you. You can't talk, you can't like do anything. Then it's probably that would be like my first, or well, yeah, that would be. No one would be able to know what it is because I can communicate, but like that would be probably what that should be what happens.
It's definitely a quality of life issue, like how well you're able to live your life and how many things that you can do. but I do believe that those people who have been in some sort of an accident where they've been blinded or deafened or maybe they've even become unable to speak, I believe that they should not have that option just because they're not going to like die, they're not suffering any, it's just a loss to a few things.
Well, suffering, they are suffering tremendously. Like, if you lose your sight or your hearing or something, those are two major things that you have like had your entire life. In one moment, it's gone forever. Like, that's extreme suffering. And like, I don't know. I just think that in certain cases of like if you were depressed to the point where you weren't gonna do anything for the rest of your life, if like because you lost vision or hearing, then you should be able to. Well, I think you should be able to, because well, you're just gonna sit there and rot. Like it doesn't really make sense to just sit there and rot when there is some, I guess, a quicker alternative.
Yeah, but what if you're born like blind or deaf?
Well, then that's a different situation. Like, if you were born blind and deaf, you won't really, like, I guess there's less of a, like, if you were in an accident, like, say at, like, age 20 or something, then you still have your entire life ahead of you, but you just won't be able to experience it as, well, I guess, to the fullest. But if you're born that way, then you would kind of be able to cope with it easier, because you've had your entire childhood to get used to what your
Well, there are people in those circumstances who still, they adapt to the changes that have been made in their life, and it's actually not had any effect on the quality of their lives because they just learn to work around it. So I believe it shouldn't be an option to them if they are able to still live their life and do so.
Yeah, I believe that it should be like highly like regulated. Like, so you'd only like get this option in like choices that are like, like if it was like a very like severe injury, like very life threatening, it's causing you like a ton of pain. Like this would give you like the option to like go out how you'd like. So, I mean like only in like severe cases should it be offered.
Anyone